Ever had one of those nights where your body is physically exhausted, every muscle begging for sleep, but your brain decides it's showtime? You lie down, turn off the lights, get cozy under the covers, and then the mental projector kicks on. Suddenly, you're watching reruns of that awkward comment you made at lunch, dissecting every word from a conversation you had 5 days ago, or imagining terrifying what-ifs about a future that doesn't even exist yet. If that sounds familiar, welcome. You're not broken, you're just human, and you're definitely not alone. Or maybe it's in broad daylight, you're sitting across from a friend or a coworker, and they're talking, but you're completely checked out. Your body's in the room, but your mind is somewhere else entirely. Worrying, replaying, planning, binning. This isn't just thinking a lot. This is overthinking, and it's sneaky. It shows up like it's trying to help, pretending to be productive. But really, it's draining your energy, killing your creativity, and leaving you emotionally fried. Overthinking is like running on a treadmill expecting to get somewhere. You're burning out, and yet, you're stuck in the exact same place. The worst part? We're taught to believe it's useful. That if we just analyze things a little more, if we worry harder, if we don't stop spinning the problem, we'll finally find clarity. Control. Peace. But that peace never comes. Does it? So here's the real question. What if there was a mental kill switch? A way to break the loop, reclaim your calm, and stop your mind from spiraling? That's what I want to give you today. No vague advice, no complicated rituals, just a straightforward system. A hack you can use anytime, anywhere, to stop overthinking right in its tracks and reset your mind. Let's start by understanding what's really happening. Overthinking isn't a personality flaw. It's your brain trying too hard to protect you. And that instinct, believe it or not, comes from a good place. Our brains evolved to scan for threats and solve problems. But in the modern world, we're rarely facing actual danger, like wild animals or survival situations. Instead, our threats are social, emotional, or imagined. A delayed text, an ambiguous email, a big decision that doesn't have a clear answer. So your brain does what it's always done. It kicks into high gear. It tries to analyze every possibility, every scenario. It says, if I think through every angle, maybe I can avoid pain. But that's a lie. You can't think your way into safety. You can't control how people will react, what outcomes will unfold, or how the future will surprise you. And so the loop begins. Thought triggers anxiety. Anxiety triggers more thoughts. You go deeper and deeper until you're not thinking anymore, you're drowning. Here's the first step to getting out: awareness. The moment you feel yourself spiraling, stop, breathe, and say it out loud or in your head. This is overthinking, not with judgment, not with shame, just simple recognition. That single act is like turning on the lights in a dark room. You're no longer lost in the thought, you're observing it. That space, however small, is power. Now that you've labeled the loop, it's time to name the story your mind is telling. Because let's be real, your overthinking isn't random. It's predictable. You've got a few greatest hits that your brain loves to play on repeat. For some people, it's the everyone's mad at me drama. For others, it's the I'm not good enough and everyone's about to find out thriller. Maybe it's the this will ruin everything catastrophe series. Here's the trick. Give those stories a title. Make it dramatic. Make it funny. Make it absurd. Oh look, it's another episode of I'll definitely say something stupid at the party tonight. Ah yes, the timeless classic. If I don't answer this email perfectly, my career is over. Coming up next, replay of every cringe moment since 2009. Sounds silly, but it works. By naming the story, you separate it from your identity. You stop being the star of the show and become the person in the audience. And when you're in the audience, it's easier to laugh, breathe, and let go. Still, sometimes that mental loop has momentum. The spinning too fast for logic. That's when we need a jolt, a pattern interrupt. Think of it like rebooting a frozen laptop. You need to break the rhythm, give your brain a reason to snap out of its groove. Here's how you do it. Splash ice-cold water on your face. Drop to the ground and do 10 jumping jacks. Bite into a lemon. Smell peppermint oil. Clap your hands and say, Stop, like you mean it. Yes, it might look strange, but that's the point. You're interrupting the automated loop and sending a new signal. This is not the same routine. The brain, confused for a moment, pauses. And in that pause, you regain control. Now, you've stopped the loop, but the mind doesn't like empty space. If you don't guide it, it'll slide right back into overthinking. So we guide it. This is where you schedule your worry. Instead of telling yourself, "Don't think about it," say, "Not now. I'll think about this at 6 p.m. Then, when that time comes, sit down and worry hard. Let your brain go wild. Journal every ridiculous fear. Make it big, dramatic, unfiltered. Set a timer for 5 minutes. When it's done, stop. Close the book. Move on. Why does this work? Because it gives your brain the respect of being heard, but on your terms. You're no longer hijacked by thoughts, you're managing them. Finally, once you've broken the cycle, name the story, shock the system, and contain the worry, there's one last move: action. Because overthinking thrives in inaction, in limbo, in waiting. Ask yourself, what's the smallest possible step I can take right now? Not a big, perfect solution, just one thing. So small it feels almost laughable. One sentence, one email draft, one stretch, one dish washed. That small step is a spark, and a spark becomes momentum, and momentum becomes confidence. Let me tell you a story. Maria is a musician, brilliant, but stuck. She had a song she wanted to release for years but never finished. Every time she opened her music software, the voice kicked in, "It's not good enough. They'll laugh at you." One night, after spiraling for hours, she tried something new. She paused and said, "This is overthinking." She named the story, the "What If They Hate It" Symphony. She went to the kitchen, filled a glass with freezing water, and downed it in one gulp. Then she told herself, "I'll officially panic about this tomorrow at 11, and asked, "What's one tiny step?" She opened her laptop and played one chord. That was it, one sound. And that sound became the first note of a finished song, released 6 weeks later. All of that because she broke the cycle. Let's take a second to really reflect on this. What is the cost of overthinking? It's not just sleep lost or decisions delayed. It's moments missed, joy postponed, opportunities abandoned not because we weren't capable, but because our minds convinced us we weren't ready, weren't worthy, or weren't enough. How many times have you said no to something exciting? Not because you didn't want it, but because you thought it through so hard, it stopped feeling possible. That job you didn't apply for, that message you didn't send, that idea you didn't start. Overthinking disguises itself as preparation, but it's really just fear in a business suit. And like fear, it whispers, "Wait, think more, stay safe." But growth doesn't happen in that whisper. It happens in motion, in decisions made from clarity, not chaos. So here's a shift. Instead of asking, "What could go wrong?" try asking, "What could go right?" Instead of imagining every way something could fall apart, imagine one way, just one, that it could work out. Let's say you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel. The overthinking hits hard. What if no one watches? What if I sound stupid? What if I fail? But flip it. What if one person watches and feels less alone? What if I get better with each video? What if this changes everything? This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about balance. Giving hope the same stage time we give fear. Here's something else to try. Talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. If your best friend came to you saying, "I'm scared I'll fail," would you say, "You're right, don't try"? Or would you say, "It's okay to be scared, but I believe in you. Just take the first step"? Be your own best friend. Be kind, be honest, be encouraging, and don't underestimate the power of movement. Overthinking is a frozen state, but action, any action, is a thaw. A walk outside, cleaning your space, calling someone, stretching your body, making tea. It doesn't have to solve the problem. It just needs to shift the energy. Even elite athletes and top performers know this. When they get stuck mentally, they don't just think harder, they change their environment. They move, they breathe, they disrupt the loop. You can too. And if you want proof this works, look at the people you admire. Most of them didn't start with certainty. They started despite the noise. Steve Jobs didn't know the iPhone would change the world. He just knew he had an idea. Serena Williams didn't win every match because she was never afraid. She won because she didn't let the fear stop her from showing up. Even the calmest minds you see, those people who seem unbothered and focused, still have thoughts racing through their heads. The difference is they don't let the thoughts drive. They listen, they pause, then they choose. And now, so can you. So let's recap, not as a checklist, but as a ritual you can return to anytime your mind gets loud. Pause, breathe, label the loop, name the story, make it funny, make it familiar, do something weird, ice water, push-ups, something to break the pattern. Set your worry appointment. Give the thought its 5 minutes, no more. And then move. Take one small step toward the thing that matters. This practice isn't about becoming a new person. It's about returning to the part of you that's always been calm, clear, and capable. The part that knows. And if you're still here, I want you to do one more thing. Write down your story title. You know, the one. The greatest hit your brain plays too often. Give it a name and put it somewhere you can see it. Next time it starts to play, smile. Say, "Not this time. You're not your thoughts. You're the one observing them." And that, my friend, changes everything. Thanks for being here today. If this video gave you even one moment of peace, share it. Subscribe. Come back when you need grounding. And remember, your brain is a storyteller. You get to decide which story takes the mic. See you next time.